There he goes. What up?
What's up? What's up,
How you
family?
doing, my man?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. It's cold out here in Brooklyn. Where you at? You in Detroit?
Yeah, I'm in Detroit. You from Brooklyn?
I'm from Hell's Kitchen in New York City. You familiar with Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan?
A little bit.
It's in Midtown Manhattan. But yeah, I grew up in Hell's Kitchen, but now I moved out. Brooklyn's like not what it used to be. It's like nice now.
I know.
Yeah, it's like nice. Yeah, but that's where I'm from. And you're from born and raised Detroit, right?
Yeah, yeah. I spent some time. I lived in New York
Oh,
for a minute.
where? What part?
I lived in Harlem on 116th in Manhattan for a
Oh,
couple
okay.
for a couple years, and then I had an apartment on 51st and 7th. Then I had another one on 22nd and Broadway.
Okay. So I grew up on 50th and 11th, so not that far from where you're at. That's dope.
So you grew up in that? You grew up in that area?
I grew up in Hell's and I don't know, like we're about the same age. I think I'm 47, so like I grew up in the 80s and 90s. It
Hmm.
was not what it is now. It was
Right, right.
the gutter. Yeah, yeah, I grew up there, born and raised. Um,
Hmm.
so but now now it's overtaken by a lot of transplants, tourists.
Hmm.
That's the way
Hmm. Hmm.
it goes. So did you ever box yourself, or you just been a fan of it?
Nah, I was in the ring a lot, sparring and shit like that, but I never competed.
You, you would spar, okay.
My uncle was a pro fighter, so I just grew up around the gym.
Would you be in Kronk or no?
Yeah, a little bit in crump,
Okay. Yeah,
like
I'm cool with.
Tommy Hearn there.
Whew. Yeah, I'm cool with Sugar Hill. I've interviewed him a bunch of times.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
and Kronk.
my uncle name was Tony Montgomery. He fought Donald Curry.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that was like one of the most vicious eras for welterweights. It,
Yeah,
was-
man.
it,
Man,
it
I
was a
mean,
lot of it was a lot of killers, a lot of
it
killers.
was.
Hmm.
That they say that right now. Well, everybody just moved to 54,
Yeah,
right? But right now, when you had Spence, Bud, all those guys, they were saying that was comparing to the 80s. But I think the 80s was more vicious.
yeah. I don't even think was it even comparable?
No, not knowing what we know now. Like, you know, the Spence and Crawford fight was kind of disappointing. You know what I mean? Because it was not competitive. Whereas the fights in the '80s, where we saw like even Marvin Hagler and Hearns, even though it only lasted was it three, it was competitive.
Hmm.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So you had Duran, and one guy who nobody talks about, Aaron Pryor. You remember him?
Of course, how can I forget Aaron Pryor?
I mean, Aaron Pryor, Sugar Ray didn't want to
He
fight him,
ducked
like
him.
literally,
He ducked him. Yeah.
but like on camera too. This wasn't, because before the internet, this was on Sugar Ray. It was on. I think it was maybe his victory press conference, and Aaron
Hmm.
just came up. He was like, "What's up?"
Why you
You know,
think that was?
Pryor was like a Pryor was like a machine gun
Hmm.
with his punches. He wouldn't stop throwing punches. He took a punch. He was always at level 10. I mean, he had a huge cocaine problem and all that, but whatever.
Hmm.
Um, he was just one of those guys and he didn't have the notoriety, or he probably wouldn't like garner the same kind of money that the other guys would. So it's one of those
Right.
like too high risk, too low reward type things.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
what I would think.
I
Um,
I see why Alexis Arguello has so many problems with him, but Sugar Ray Leonard, a guy that just never stopped throwing punches, but never stopped just coming forward. Like,
mhm.
have you ever seen him make any like adjustments?
Sugar Ray?
Aaron Pryor,
No. Maybe go from a 10 to a 15
like
in
basically
energy.
yeah, doing the same
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah, yeah. He didn't make much adjustments, but his angles and his sheer volume was just insane. The volume, I can't even think of any. Manny Pacquiao maybe was similar to volume and angles.
The only other comparable guy.
Hmm. Manny Pacquiao was similar.
Manny is underrated to me.
Really.
I think he has an underrated ring IQ. I don't
Hmm.
think he gets the props he deserves for his skill. Well, maybe now, kind of like after the fact. When he was at his height, I think they kind of like because despite Floyd, I think they put as many extras on it as they could, but I just think when people talk about like the greatest of all time list today, I don't think he gets mentioned enough.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think because so my favorite fighter of all time, who I think is also the greatest of all time in his prime only,
Hmm.
because I look at the prime, is Roy Jones. Like I don't think anybody came anywhere near Roy Jones.
Just all
But
around fighter,
yeah,
all around.
I mean, just even the eyeball test. It's like you never saw anybody. It's like watching a Lamborghini race a scooter. Like it was just so far above everybody else.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But because he lost so many times later in his career, I think, which is why I bring that up, is that's I think what happened with Manny. Manny had those few losses, and people maybe don't consider him as much because Floyd made it super popular to be undefeated.
Yeah, yeah. Floyd messed the game up, man.
Uh
He
huh.
messed it. He
He
messed the
did.
game up. He messed the game up with greatness, with his greatness.
He did. He did. I mean, and like, where do you put Floyd? All time welterweight. Let's just say.
All time welterweight, top five.
I do too. But and think about it. Why don't we put him one? Because technically, they
Sugar Ray
weren't.
Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson. I put number one.
Okay.
Um,
I think Leonard would have given Floyd a lot of problems.
I think he could have figured out how to beat him.
I mean, you know what Leonard said. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but he talked to. He was like, "Well, I beat his
Beat
dad's
your daddy.
ass."
That's the same
Yeah.
style. It's a big
And
difference.
now it's not his father, right? Right. It's not. But Leonard, man, Leonard had everything, everything. You know what I mean? And the
You're
speed
amazing.
and
But what
the mean
about
streak.
what about Tommy Hearns at welterweight? Did anybody actually beat Tommy at welterweight?
Great question. Yeah, yeah, Sugar Ray. I think they fought at welterweight.
I
Knocked
thought they fought
him
at
out.
thought they fought at 160.
They rematch. They had three
Oh, that's
fights, but
when he came back out of
there
retirement,
you
right?
go.
Okay.
And the second fight was a draw, but Tommy dropped him, whooped his ass, but they called it a draw.
So the first fight was at 47.
I'm pretty sure somebody in the comments maybe could fact check that for me, but I'm pretty sure because they were young. That's the thing too. People talk about, oh, guys never fight in their prime, blah blah blah. It's like, well, those guys fought literally in their primes. They
Mhm.
were probably in their mid 20s when they fought.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And Sugar Ray was having problems until he just caught him.
I don't think, man. Tommy is like, hmm. He's the only fighter that I could see like at welterweight. I just can't see how somebody from this era would be able to beat him.
See, I think Tommy was a little limited. I think he had the length and he had the power, but I think his chin was a little suspect and his boxing ability, his ability to adjust, like he would just like I've talked to him and I was like, so what happened with Hagler? He goes, I was gonna box him, but he started teeing off on me, so he just all game plans flew out the window. You know what
Bad decision.
I mean?
Bad decision.
It was.
He, he
It
got
was.
he tried to shoot. He tried to get into a shootout with Marvin Hagler.
Which which was a
Which
bad choice. To
you remember?
me,
You remember what he was hitting him with though?
who Turns?
Tommy was hitting him with some
He
fire.
was catching them.
I
But
was like, yo, man, this dude is like, he must be superhuman or something.
I just did a video about Hagler having the best chin. Like that dude's
Has
chin.
he ever been down? Has he ever been down in his career?
He went down. It's in the video. He went down once officially, but the guy pushed him in the back of the head with his forearm, and he fell. He swung at him, and Hagler ducked, and the bottom of his forearm hit the back of Hagler's head, pushed him down, and he went down. He jumped right back up. It was a push, but since the punch was thrown, I guess the referee called it a knockdown. Shouldn't
Mm.
have been.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? But no,
So,
other
so,
than that,
so
no.
technically, no. Then I guess.
Man, I mean, John the Beast Mugabe, who at the time was 25-0, all knockouts,
Mm-hmm.
was hitting Hagler with grenades and nothing. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
saw that's a fight where I tell people to watch. You see Mugabe's will and determination just drain out of his whole body after
Mm.
he hit Hagler with a couple flush shots and nothing happened.
That must be like the worst feeling in the world for a fighter. to be in there and just be hitting somebody with everything you got.
It's a,
It's just like,
it's discouraging. Like I'm a former fighter. I don't know if you know that, but it's discouraging. Like I've been in there with some dudes who you're catching them and catching them, and see sometimes when you hit somebody and they'll smile at you or they'll go like no, or you could tell that they're embarrassed,
mm-hmm,
that they're worried. But sometimes,
mm-hmm,
like Bud Crawford does this, and Winky
mm-hmm.
Wright, they're really like nope, and you could
Yeah.
feel the difference in the energy.
Yeah, I was at that fight when he fought Spence, and he was like, yeah, when he caught me, I think it was either the first round or the second round. He caught me with a hook, and he was like, he caught me with it, and I was thinking to myself like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
He like, 'cause if that's it, this is a wrap.
You saw it. I mean, you saw the punch land, and it was just it did nothing. Who did you
So
have in that fight going into it?
I had Bud. I had Bud going into it. I knew the Spence was a little bit limited. You know what I mean? Um, and I also was following like the whole lead up to it, and he was kind of just like, "Yo, I'm gonna walk you down. I'm gonna walk you down. I'm gonna beat you up." You know what I mean? And it was just like, "Damn, what if you can't? What if you can't do that though? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
have like a alternative? You know what I mean? Like, is there some sort of adjustment? Because I never seen him have to make that adjustment because he's always been so effective with just brutalizing everybody. So I seen immediately that he wasn't able to do it. And I thought he might not be able to do it because I just know how strong Bud is.
I mean, I won't front. I really thought that there was, and I was choosing Bud, by the way,
Hmm.
not in that fashion, but
Not by domination like that.
right. But I thought there was something a little off with Errol. I
Yeah.
don't know what it was. You know, he had the heavy eyelids. He was slurring his words before the fight. He was slow, sluggish. I thought something was off. I don't think it would have made a difference. I'm not trying to say, oh, he would have won, but he looked a little off. You know, um, I don't know.
Mm. I mean, after a lot of people start saying that, I went back and looked at it, and I can kind of see what y'all are saying. But I looked at the first couple rounds, and then I went and looked at the what's my man the guy who he looked good against, dark skinned bald head guy, the Olympic gold medalist,
Who
uh,
looked good against
Spence looked good against him.
Olympic gold
Yeah,
medalist, dark?
um he like Puerto Rican fighter, dark skinned bald head guy, the guy that beat Manny
Ugas.
Ugas.
I don't think he's Puerto Rican, but
Oh, okay, all right.
just
Brazilian? Is it Brazilian?
he is like Venezuelan or some shit, or Argentina, something like that. He's not Puerto Rican, but anyway,
Okay,
what
okay. So yeah, so my bad, Ugas. So he looked he looked the same.
he did,
Looked the same. He looked the same against Danny.
but not. So with me, it was when he was talking, when he was not in the ring. In the ring, he looked a little weak. And see, in the ring, Cuban. That's right. Somebody just said that. In the ring, it looked like he was getting the force of the shots were moving him around more than he's usually. Like he was more movable. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was more like before and after when he was talking, and his
Mm-hmm.
eyelids were clearly like either. I heard a bunch of stories from people I know in the game. You know, everything from possible painkillers because of a rib injury to weed because of it looked like he was off a little. You know, I
Right,
couldn't ignore it. You know what I'm saying? I just
right,
couldn't.
right,
But
right.
you know,
Damn.
it
So
was
he got a rib injury.
that was never verified by him directly, but that was what my sources were telling me. Yeah,
Mm.
just like Ryan had the rib injury against what's his face
Tank,
Tank.
Tank.
Yep. And he didn't really talk about it. I mean, Ryan's also he's on a whole nother level right now. Um,
Did he look in shape to you against Devin?
well, he kept doing his like Victorville role and not really throwing punches for like I gave Devin 6 rounds. You know,
Really?
just the difference is yeah, because he wasn't the difference was the knockdowns. Ryan was won by points because each round was 10-8. One round could have been 10-7 because Ryan almost had him out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he looked how he normally looks. He looked more bulky though.
Yeah, he looked a little like he had a little bit of like water on him. And he was overweight a little bit, right?
3 pounds.
Didn't he? Yeah. Just 3 pounds?
3.2, I think it was exactly. But yeah, just 3 pounds. That's why people try to bring that up as an excuse for the loss to Devin. I don't think 3 pounds. I mean, the average human body, we fluctuate 5 pounds throughout the day, and all of us.
Yeah, it's
So,
not like he was like putting his weight on him, and you know what I mean. Like
right.
he was just catching him with check hook.
That's all. It was a simple thing of like reflexes. When you're in there with somebody, when you have good reflexes, and you could throw the punch before the person, his brain sees it and tells the body to
Yeah.
react. I mean, that's what was happening. He was just throwing it too fast,
Mm-hmm.
and he was throwing it hard. And Dev, but then obviously the whole thing came out afterwards, and I don't really know. I don't know what to think of that. I mean, it looks bad. The only thing it could be is it could possibly be accidental that he took it in a supplement without knowing. I don't know. But it should be no contest no matter what.
Is that definite? Because I thought I read something that said he got cleared from that. Is that just fake news?
They're waiting. Yeah, that's right. They're waiting till May 22nd is a hearing that the. So the way it works, a lot of people don't realize boxing is not like the NBA. It's not like the NFL. There's not one umbrella league that enforces and puts down rules. Boxing is like Lord of the Flies. It's like every man for himself. So the way it works is each state athletic commission in a position like this will determine what to do. So
Mm-hmm.
they have to have a hearing. Ryan gets to go in front of them and prove how it was either accidental or it didn't happen. And they're going to also analyze the B sample, which just basically means they take two things of P.
Mm-hmm.
They're analyzing the other thing of P to make sure that also says there was drugs.
So,
So we got
so do you know anything about this ostarine stuff? I never heard of it.
just what I found out now. It's supposed to cancer patients use it to build muscle when they're like withering away from cancer.
Mm-hmm.
They use it to try and maintain muscle mass, so it builds muscle. Um, and it's supposed to help you lose weight, I guess, as a diuretic, make you pee.
Okay.
Um, and I don't know. I read conflicting reports on if it's actually effective to make you stronger, because some things
Uh,
can build bulk, but if it's not making you stronger, what's the point? You
mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I really know about it. I also another thing I wish they talked about was like how much of it in your system actually counts. You know what I'm saying? Like you could put a little bit of a drug in your system, you won't even feel it, but it'll show up in your blood.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
wondering, did he have enough in him that would actually translate into, you know, enhanced performance enhancement?
Well, pardon my boneheadedness, but
Okay.
does your body naturally produce the stuff?
No,
Ostarine? It doesn't.
no,
Okay.
no, not that. Now I don't know that much about this stuff either, but it doesn't produce that at all. It just produces testosterone. That's the only thing that you can take, synthetic testosterone. Where that, when they test you, if your levels are way too high, they'll know that it's not natural. Then you can get in trouble for that too.
Mm.
Yeah, it's but a lot of guys have been caught. Like Roy Jones got caught. I talked to him about it. He was like, "Yo, I didn't know that I could get popped. Like I can come up dirty in a test for a jar of supplement. I literally bought at GNC." He's like, "I had no idea. Happened once, never happened again." So people make mistakes. There are unintentional situations. And to me, that
What
intent
was that?
matters.
You remember
What's
what that
that?
was? You remember what
Well,
that was? The Royce took.
no, but you could look. I mean, you could Google it. I don't.
Really?
Um, I don't. But you can make mistakes. Like people are talking about ban him for life. This, that's like I think one strike is okay as long as it's not blatant that he did it on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, it's fighting. It's boxing. Is boxing like super dirty like that in that regard? A lot of
mm,
guys like cheating and shit.
that's what I hear. Like
Yeah.
I was under the like when I fought and all the dudes I was around, we wanna. I feel like boxers are usually the most competitive in terms of like we want to win because
Yeah.
we won.
You don't want the advantage like that.
Like
Level
right,
playing
like a
field.
lot of
Yeah.
us don't even spar smaller people or less experienced people because it's like, well, I'm gonna beat them up and that's gonna boost my ego. No, I want to get better. I want to
Right.
challenge myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think so. But then I've heard a lot of stories. You know what I mean? It all depends, I guess, who you are.
Hmm. I always wondered was Manny taking something.
That you and me and everybody, man. Um, he turned pro at 108 pounds,
Yeah. Yep.
and he ended up fighting at, I think he went as high as 154. So,
Definitely. He went as high as 154 and fought big 154 pounders.
and for somebody who he's only about 5'5", maybe, I mean, that's a lot of weight to put on. I get he was a kid when he turned pro, he was 17, 18 or whatever, but still, that's a lot of weight.
Where was the power coming from? Where was
Him,
the power coming from, man? He was knocking Margarito around the ring.
De La Hoya too. That was one of the most.
Yeah,
That was
uh,
vicious.
didn't he fight? Didn't he fight? Didn't he beat Miguel Cotto too?
Cotto, Mosley, Margarito, De La Hoya. Uh, I think there's somebody else I'm probably missing. He
He
whooped.
stopped.
I mean,
He stopped. Didn't he stop Cotto?
yes.
Holy shit!
Stop Cotto, stop Margarito, stop De La Hoya. Mosley, I don't think he stopped. But he dropped him. Yeah. Well, his power comes from his legs. If you look at Manny and Mike Tyson has this, he has like tree trunk legs.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it looks a little more uh, evenly dispersed in his body.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? His weight. What do you think about this Tyson fight coming up?
I try not to think about it. I try not to think about it. It's all bad. It's nothing good. Nothing good come from that fight.
It's kind of like a car crash. Like you can't you're gonna watch even though you see it coming. You know
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be ugly. You still gotta watch it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it to support. My first thoughts when I heard about it was, damn. I hope Mike not fighting for money. Like he's too beloved in the culture to have to. I don't want him to have to fight for money. So I hope he's just doing it because it's just some shit that he wants to like do, or it's just like I don't know. Whatever the reason is, man. I just don't think that he should be getting punched in the head at almost 60 years old, man.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But isn't there a part of you that wants to see Jake Paul get slept?
Not really. I don't.
No.
I'm not one of the guys who like dislikes Jake Paul like that. I like Jake Paul.
Here's my problem. I like him. I just I don't like how it makes boxing look a little like you have to put in work, you know. And he's put in work, don't get me wrong, but it takes time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's in the very rare position where he can off jump have the best, most experienced trainers and sparring partners in the world. Right off jump.
Mm-hmm.
So he's
Yeah.
improved. But I mean, what if Tyson gets knocked out? Like, wouldn't that be horrible?
Yes. That would be horrible.
And
That would be horrible.
yeah, and I mean, here's what I say about that fight. I talked to Mike Tyson's. We have mutual friends, whatever. I mean, I met Mike. I don't know him personally, really, but
Mm.
and he, from what I'm being told, he's going to go for the knockout. Like
Mike
he's
is.
not playing. Yes, yes. It's not going to be the Roy Jones thing where he's going because this is a real fight. By the way, this is on their records. This is a sanctioned, which I still don't get how it's 2 minutes because 2 minute fights. And this is what I'm saying. How boxing isn't, like the NBA is not going to let you hit a shot from the bench and just give you 5 points. Like, no, it's always the same rules.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow this is 2 minute rounds when all professional men's, not women's are 2 minutes, men's are 3 minutes, but they're letting it go too. I don't really get it.
What
Um,
size gloves? What size gloves?
they're doing 14s. That's another thing. It's a great point. They're also not doing the standard 10-ounce gloves that heavyweights use. So it's exhibition rules really, but it's going on their record for some reason.
I don't really count
I don't
Jake Paul's record as a record.
know.
Nah, nah. I feel like he's done all spectacles. But the reason why I like him is because I think he could fight, and I think that he takes it serious. He doesn't like make a mockery of the sport, even though what he's doing in theory is kind of like more in the spectacle category in regards to like real serious, like got it from the mud fighters who, you know what I mean, like who came up in the ranks a certain way. I can understand how somebody in those types of positions would look at him kind of like it would be damn near impossible for them to even take what he does serious. But I just look at it. I try to be as objective as possible, I don't watch every fight, but I think that he's bringing a certain level of cachet to boxing that I feel like boxing just deserves. I don't really think boxing has ever been like a real mainstream sport. Do you?
It was. You're right. You're right to an extent. It's not now, but it was the most popular sport in the world up until Muhammad Ali around that time. I mean, the 20s. I don't know if you're a historian. Back go far as back as Jack Dempsey, Jack Johnson, Joe
Mm-hmm.
Louis. Those were the most popular athletes in the world back then.
Really?
Yeah, but since then, I think because of what we're talking about, now we're not dealing with uh, one organization. We're dealing with all this corruption, all this crap.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I mean, MMA. I think is more. I don't watch MMA, but I think it's more popular technically.
I think so too. I mean, they have way more events. They have
They
way
don't.
more events. Yes.
They don't make more money, but I think they get more eyeballs on the sport. I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. More viewership because people. I mean, people tune in. They got a lot of casual fans over there. People
Mm-hmm.
tune in. People tune in because they think they may see like a quick knockout. You know what I mean? And that's what casual fans particularly want to see. Whereas in boxing, we don't usually get the casual fanfare until somebody of an elite level in terms of like star power is in the ring, like how Floyd was. He brought in all the casual fans who don't know shit about boxing.
And
You know what I'm saying? Who
Jake's
were
done
just
that.
tuning in because it was just a lot of smoke.
And Jake's done that. And Ryan Garcia, who don't get it twisted, he's a real fighter. Like
Yeah,
Ryan is
yeah,
a
for sure.
real amateur pedigree. I think he's like a 15-time amateur nationals champion. But he also brought in that social media presence.
hmm
So
hmm
that's why, like, him and Jake Paul probably make more money, could make more money than any other real boxer, and neither of them have ever been champion.
Yeah.
Yet they make more money than Tank. Than I think even than Canelo, they'll make more money, depending on the dance partner.
Mm. That's interesting.
It's
That's
crazy.
interesting.
It's wild,
I'm,
right?
but it's wild, but it's not just in boxing. You know what I mean? Like it happens on the music side all the time. Like none of this stuff is fair. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't meant to be fair. You know what I mean? It's just really just is what it is, man. It's like checks and balances. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, I know
Asses,
the music.
asses and seats.
I know the music side changed with people going independent and all that.
Yeah, and then you got the internet. Like so people are like gaining the attraction of the fans and for a multitude of different reasons. You know what I mean? Like it's not just about the music per se. Actually, the music itself is the value of it is at an all-time low, in my opinion. I think the value of music, just because there's so much of it, and there's so much bad music out there, and then there's so much mid music, and the internet, it's kind of like you just listen, you're just looking at a bunch of noise, and in order to cut through and really garner the attention of people, there has to be something with the music. Like the music itself don't seem to be strong enough anymore to just cut through. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like
telling you, man. I don't know if I'm the typical old person that we used to hear when we were kids, but this shit all sounds so awful to me. Like, I think I stopped listening to new hip hop because I grew up on hip hop right around when Shine went to prison. I think that's when I was like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do
that,
it.
he did. That was a classic album.
Yeah, and then I was like, I'm done. I just couldn't. I can't do it, and I don't. And you ever ask yourself too? Is it just because you're the age you're at, or is it really just not good now? I can't tell the difference.
I could tell the difference. I can tell when it's. I got into a point, man, where I study like a lot of the young guys. I can tell. I can tell even when it's not for me. I can tell if it's good for what it is, and it's just not for me.
There
You
you
know what I
go.
mean? So I can definitely make that distinction. But I mean, I already knew when I got to a certain age that shit wasn't gonna resonate with me the same like it used to. You know what I
Right,
mean? The
right.
kids just every young generation gonna come into the game wanting to do their own thing and they want to reinvent the wheel. They think they know it all. They
Hmm.
think the old heads are against them. You know what I mean? Like it's like a whole like thing that goes on where you just got to kind of let them do their thing. But some of that stuff it just sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like some of it sucks, some of it is great. I feel like we in the time now where since we got the internet, every human can just curate their own existence. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to be at the mercy of mass marketing any longer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to hear anything you don't want to hear. You know, if you think
Mm-hmm.
it's bad, you don't have to listen to it. You can only listen to and create the soundtrack of your day, your mood every single day, and just live like that. You know what I mean? So to me, everything is niche. Everything is niche now, except the mainstream. I think
Right.
that's what the internet has created. And it's just like if it's out there and somebody loves it, fine. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to listen to it, so
Yeah.
cool with me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. Well, one of my goats in hip hop, Kane, Big Daddy Kane. I've interviewed him. I've talked to him too a bunch. He loves
For
boxing.
real?
Loves it.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I
Kane,
ain't know Kane was into
big
boxing like that.
boxing. Yeah. Me and him talk a lot about boxing. CL Smooth, another guy I talked to. He loves boxing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You ever
Yeah.
talk to Cool J?
I have not. I'd like to, but I haven't. Nah.
He
Nah.
know a lot about he know his stuff. I love when I talk to like other rappers, especially the legends, like my OGs, and
Right.
they know like what they're talking about when they're talking about boxing.
Like
LL
who?
knows his, huh?
Like who? LL?
LL Cool J, Q-Tip. Q-Tip is one of my boxing buddies.
Oh wow. Oh, I
Um,
didn't know Tip like boxing.
Q-Tip like boxing and he can
I, I
fight.
I heard that. I knew the dude that they used to go train him and Jay Z or whoever at some in Chelsea Piers out here, and I heard that Tip had the best hands out of everybody.
They had
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
little league going on. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I heard about that. Yeah, that was surprising. You would think, yeah, and I heard Jay was probably the least. He needed to work the most on it.
in the
Yeah.
beginning, I heard it was like that in the beginning, but I heard he started getting better fast. I
Mm-hmm.
may just be saying that because I'm a Jay Z stan. I don't know.
It's all,
I
all
don't
good.
even.
It's all good. Another guy who loves boxing, R.A. the Rugged Man. He
Oh
loves it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
He's
that is, I mean,
obsessed. He's
yeah,
obsessed.
yeah, yeah.
And a historian.
I
I love
think
that guy.
50 loves it too, right?
50, 50 boxed before. He can box and he knows boxing like the game, but I don't think he follows it like super closely
Did he actually?
like he probably once did. He was promoting for a second.
Did he have amateur fights or just in the gym sparring kind of thing? Do you know?
Mm, no, he fought. He competed. He
Okay,
competed. I don't know. I don't know what level he got to, but he
okay.
definitely competed
I
before. I talked to
heard.
him about it. Just can't remember exactly what he told me.
Yeah, I heard M also did a. I don't think he fought, but he was going to Kronk a lot, right, for a while.
Yeah, he was training with Emmanuel Stewart. Um,
Right.
Manny was going to his crib and training him, and
That's
then
cool.
after Manny passed, God rest his soul. Um, my man, what's my man name? My man was coming and training him in his place.
Sugar
Um,
Hill.
nah, not Sugar Hill. Hilmer Kente,
Okay.
and
Okay. Okay.
they used to be up there sparring at the studio, like right there in the lobby. I come walking in like, damn, throwing kind of hard too.
That's how it
But he was
go. I mean, you
training.
said you
Yeah.
sparred, right? You know
Oh
how it
yeah.
is.
Oh yeah. They was training Marshall for he was supposed to do the Southpaw movie, the Jake Gyllenhaal one.
Oh,
So
okay.
he originally that was supposed to be him. And then when he started working on his album, he decided to pull out of it. So that's when Jake Gyllenhaal went
Oh
in. But
wow, yeah. Jake
originally he was
Gyllenhaal
gonna be
actually
there.
he trained in my gym in down in Financial District for that movie. That's funny.
Really.
Yeah, small world. Um,
He was ripped the fuck up in that movie.
yeah, he was. He was. Boxing movies kind of sometimes when the fight scenes are like mad unrealistic, they kind of it gets to me. It's little things that maybe normal people wouldn't notice, but it just drives me crazy.
Yeah, I try to pretend like I don't notice. But
That
I think all of them are like that. Has it ever been like a great boxing scene in a great boxing movie?
there must have been like the early Rockies were so goofy. Like I tell people that fight would have been stopped within 20 seconds. Like nobody's gonna just sit there and take punches with their hands down, flush every time.
Hmm.
But as they got
With their face looking like I
Burger,
don't even know what Rocky who was doing who was doing the makeup, but his face was
it looked
just
fucked
like
up. Yeah, yeah, like
super
hamburger meat.
crazy.
Yeah, it looked terrible. Yeah. Um, what? So we got a big fight coming up this Saturday, man. Big one.
This Saturday
Yeah.
is it Tank and Frank?
No, first ever undisputed heavyweight champion will be crowned in the four belt era.
Oh, who? Tyson Fury and Usyk?
There you go. Saturday.
Damn, that's coming this fast?
It's in Saudi.
It's in Saudi.
Yeah, that's in Saudi Arabia, man. I'm excited for that one. I'm
Who you got now?
Fury. I got Fury by a sustained body attack. He's going to lean on him. He's going to employ his dirty-ish / crafty, whichever way you look at it, tactics. Yeah, I think he might stop him. What you think?
Mm.
Too big,
No,
man. And still,
normally I would pick Fury like hands down, quick, and it, just as a matter of fact as you did. But yo, man, I was at that Ngannou fight, man.
uh,
I didn't like what I seen.
oh, I know that was awful.
I didn't like what I seen, man. Like
Even
he didn't have power in that fight.
he didn't have, but I mean, I think he didn't take it seriously, personally. And here's the thing, though. All the advantages that Ngannou had over Fury, which is really just size and strength, Usyk has none of that shit. None of it. So it wouldn't even apply.
Usyk can fight, man.
He could fight, but he's not going to be stronger. Um, he can box, but can he reach a dude who's what 6 inches taller? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of obstacles for Usyk, a lot less for Fury.
Mm-hmm. And this is assuming that he comes in there looking like how he looked against Deontay. I just think those days are behind him. I don't think he's as into it as he used to be.
Fury?
Fury.
Mm, I don't know, man. I think him losing just now, or almost losing, excuse me, looking bad, I think that sparked a fire under his ass.
I hope so. I hope so. But I because of what I saw, I got to hold it against him, and I can't pick him. But I can't bet against him either. So I'm gonna just remain neutral on that one.
Yeah,
In theory, he should win because he's a much better fighter. But I just don't like. I don't trust how he's looking as of late.
I mean, yeah, and him being a better fighter is arguable because Usyk is great. I just think it's a size thing, man. I think,
I think he's
you
got
know,
more skill. He got more skill, and he knows how to use what he has better. Like
right,
he knows how to use his tools. He knows all the tools that he has, and he knows how to use them to his advantage.
right. And Fury to me is like a cheat code. Fury's like he's like a cheat code in Knockout Kings. Like, let me get the 6'9" dude who could knock you out. Like, okay, let's do that with the 100 in every category. Like, he's not 100 in every category,
Yeah,
but you get my drift.
yeah. Because I was gonna say, can he knock you out like that though?
Ever since your Detroit brethren Sugar Hill stepped in, he's knocked out everybody except Ngannou. All of them.
Who did he stop after Deontay?
Deontay, then he beat Dylan White, then he beat Chisora, knocked so 4 guys out. There might be one more I'm missing, but he knocked 4 people out in a row. Every single fight that Sugar Hill was a part of, because Sugar Hill was like, "Nah, you got to get on the front foot. Because Fury just out of physics alone should hit hard because he's almost 300 pounds. So
Yeah,
that much weight, if you just throw the punch correctly, you're going to hit harder than most dudes because you outweigh them.
yeah, yeah. I feel like there shouldn't be a such thing as a heavyweight fighter who can't punch hard.
Right.
Because they are such big guys. It's just like everybody should be at least a knockout puncher. Everybody 300 pounds, 200 plus pounds.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
which reminds me, before I forget, did you see how fat Jake Paul is?
Thank you for bringing that up. I saw that too, and I'm like, this because somebody said I saw a caption. It was on social media. Oh, Jake Paul looking huge, looking not huge because he looked huge, looking like in beast mode or
Mm-hmm.
something like flattering. And I'm like, no, he looked big.
It seemed like it's about 20. It's about 20, at least 25 extra pounds on him.
Well, he's
Because he was usually fighting at what, like 180
one anywhere between that and 199.
cruiser or something like that. Has he ever
Yeah.
been 199, 200 in the ring?
You know what?
I don't think so.
You're right, because he said, I watched some of the press conference. He goes, I'm walking around about 225 now. So you're right. He put on exactly 25.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And it's not all muscle either.
not at all. It looks flabby.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
Look out of space.
it looks like there's like a layer over his muscle now.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Exactly. So I wonder, is he gonna have that? He gonna definitely still have that straight right hand, that bomb he got. He definitely gonna still have that, but will it be fast? Will it be sharp?
Mike Tyson has one of the best chins in boxing history. So unless age kind of eroded his punch resistance, I don't think it's gonna. Even if he lands, I don't think it's gonna do anything.
You so wrong.
You think so?
He's 60.
58, but I don't know. I mean, you saw what happened with Vander Holyfield, right? He got
Hmm.
60 real quick. Remember with what's his name, Victor Belfort?
Did you see what happened with Pete McNeely? His
Nah,
last official pro fight.
the guy who fought
Yeah.
Tyson. Nah, when did he fight?
Well, he beat. It was either, was it McNeely or was it what's that guy's name? Big big tall white guy. He leaned his weight on Mike when Mike was down
Oh
in like the clinch, and
no,
Mike
you're
went
thinking.
down on one knee,
Yeah,
and then the guy had to kind of like help him up. Mike couldn't get up,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
he
yeah.
ended
No,
up
you're talking.
stopping Mike. And then the interview after the fight, Mike was like, "I'm not gonna do this anymore. I don't
I
want to
don't
like
got it. Yeah,
disrespect the sport. I don't have this in my heart no more. Like
yeah, yeah.
I'm not the killer that I used to be." To me, I got to look at that and take that into consideration forever.
See, but people change. People, you know what I'm saying? People change. People evolve. People are different mind states. You know what I'm saying?
People don't go from killer to no longer a killer to back to a killer.
You don't think so?
Not at 60 years old. Mm-mm,
Hmm. Hmm.
mm-mm.
And Peter McNeely was that's the guy that Tyson fought when he first came out of prison. The guy you're
Right.
talking
So he
about.
stopped him. He stopped Peter McNeely. So I'm thinking about
This this guy is Irish. He's from Ireland. He's
he
a
had a
big guy.
mullet.
Yeah, I'm forgetting his name though. Uh, yeah, but I know who you're talking about. Big dude.
O'Donnell or something
Something
along
like
those
that.
lines.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
and he couldn't fight.
Nah,
Couldn't fight at all.
nah,
And Mike
nah.
was just like Mike was just like, you know how he like endless endless options with the combos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, body head. It was just like one body, two body, one body, two body,
Yeah,
and then he tired. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And my man was
yeah.
just smothering him.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, it was a bad look, but you know, I don't know. We're gonna see. I don't really know. Again, that's the only question to me is the chin. If Tyson's chin is still there, because Tyson is still bigger than Jake naturally. I still think he's faster. I think he's faster than Jake, even at this age. I mean, you saw his. What'd you think of his clips of him hitting the pads and all that? Tyson.
See, I don't want to be that guy, man. I don't want to be that guy because I'm a rapper, so a lot of things that I say people take way more personal than they need to.
Oh,
But man, like super respectfully, because I love Mike, man. I'm a Mike stan. He didn't look good hitting those pads,
you,
man.
you don't
Like
think?
just no, I don't think so. I
I
don't
do.
think so. But I mean, I'm only judging. I'm only judging him against him. I'm not saying that I look better than him hitting the pads. I'm just saying that does not look like the Mike that I want to remember.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to talk after that fight because I have a feeling. I have a feeling that you're gonna be you're gonna be pleasantly surprised.
I hope I am. I hope I am because I don't want him to get hurt. If he get hurt, I'm gonna be mad at Jake Paul.
Yeah, that would
I
suck.
don't want him to get hurt. But
Yep.
I mean, how you think he look against Roy Jones?
I think he looked good. He was holding back. You don't think? He was holding back.
I mean, he could have been, but I thought both of them just looked kind of like, mm,
See, Roy, and I love Roy. I know Roy personally, so no disrespect to Roy, but Roy looked like he was very apprehensive of fighting a guy that big, and he was just holding, just kind of get it, get it done. Tyson looked like he was holding back. That's the difference. Now, what happens if he doesn't hold back?
on Jake Paul. You saying?
Yes. you know.
I hope you're right,
And Tyson,
man. I hope you're
I
right
I hope
because
so too.
you're more qualified to say,
I
but I
mean,
don't. I can't see it.
I mean, I by no means am saying this is. I don't know either. But if I really think about it, all my experience that I've been in there or been around people, usually your chin doesn't go from being great to garbage from a few. Usually it doesn't.
Mhm.
That's what happens usually. But look what happened with Holyfield. I mean, his last fight, the guy barely blew on him. He was fucking wobbling. And
Who did he
he
fight last?
fought an MMA dude. It was supposed to be an exhibition.
Oh,
Victor Belfort. Do you
oh,
remember that?
Belfort. Yeah, yeah, I do
And
remember now. Yeah,
they stopped it. Holyfield got hit. And he was Belfort was trying to kill him too, though. But
yeah,
still,
that's right. That's right.
yeah,
I think I tried to. I think I tried to block that one out of my memory.
that one was bad. But so that could happen. Holyfield had a great chin. Um,
Holyfield had a great, great chin.
great, great, yeah. So it could
I think.
happen.
I think. I don't want this to happen, but I think Jake Paul can hurt him.
Oh man, I mean he's also smaller.
He a
You know what
little.
I'm saying? Like Jake's
He's a kid. He's a kid. He got. What is he in his 20s?
like 26 or something like that, 7.
That's that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous because he can punch. I mean, I know he's a YouTuber and all that, and he's like, everybody like, yo, man, he's a YouTuber. He ain't been fighting that long, but he can punch.
He could punch. No, he can. He can punch. He can definitely could punch. He's been in there. He has real, like I said, real trainers, real sparring partners. But nothing. Probably the same thing in hip hop, right? Nothing can make up for experience.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
So it can only take you so far.
But look,
All the natural.
I'm rooting. I'm rooting for Mike 100%. I'm rooting for him 100%. That's one of my goats.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where you got him? Where you got him? All time heavyweights.
This is horrible because I trained with Kevin Rooney, who used to train like that's when I first turned amateur. I was up in Catskills, so I think Mike Tyson in his prime could have beaten anybody. But when you look at his career, when you really look at it, he
Hmm.
peaked right around Spinks, Marvis Frazier. He peaked in '88.
And then went to
After
jail.
that point,
And
huh?
then went to jail.
Went to jail. Even before he went to jail, when he lost to Douglas, it started before jail. He has never won a mega fight since Michael Spinks.
What mega fight has he been in?
Lennox Lewis,
Oh, later.
Vander Holyfield twice.
Yeah.
Um, he's never beaten anybody. So I just I think he's one of those rare fighters who peaked at like 23 years old. That almost never
You
happens.
think they could have beat him in his prime?
Nah,
I don't either.
but his that's the problem though. His prime was so short. So I can't put him when I look at his career. But now I look at primes. Like when I look at somebody's career, I look at their prime, but their prime has to be more than like 3-4 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's why I kind of yeah, it's tough. I don't. I have Joe Louis as the best heavyweight of all time. Nobody did what he did, pound
Joe
for
Louis?
pound. Yeah, pound for pound. Like not if you jumped in a time machine and he fought. The guys today would kill him because they're so much bigger and the
Mm-hmm.
advancements in sports technology and all that, sports science, all that stuff. So that's where I got
What guys
where
today?
you got him.
What guys today will kill Joe Louis? You think
I
the
mean,
heavyweights today are better
I
than
think
back then?
Anthony Joshua would knock out Joe Louis, and not because I love Anthony Joshua, just because it's different eras. Joshua was 250, 260, six six.
I think Anthony Joshua could knock out anybody, but
Yeah, it's about eras. Tyson Fury would beat Joe Lewis's ass because Joe Louis couldn't go near him. I'm not saying he's a better fighter. It's just era for era. It's hard to I think you could start comparing guys in the '70s on, because for the most part you got big dudes, but even then, the biggest dude back then was George Foreman, who was barely 230 pounds. These guys now, all of them are over 250 minimum.
right. But
So
and it's something. Mm,
yeah, that's the way that is.
I don't. Yeah. I don't know, man. So
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali. You think these guys are comparable to him?
I mean, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali is different because he did so much for like a culture, for a movement. His outside of the ring game was so insane, and many people look at that. His in the ring game, he's one of the best, but there's guys who I think were better than him in the ring, heavyweights.
Like who?
Uh, Joe Louis, Jack Johnson, um, shit. I mean, you can argue Larry Holmes during his prime. Larry Holmes went 8, 9 years without losing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's people don't like hearing that because Muhammad Ali is such an icon for what he did to basically the world.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. Larry Holmes is one of the most underrated fighters ever to me.
There was a fighter named Gene Tunney. I don't know if you ever hear him.
Mm-hmm.
Gene Tunney only lost once, and he knocked Homeboy out in the rematch. He's the first guy to beat Jack Dempsey. Gene Tunney is one of the greatest fighters of all time. If you look at his record, he was better than Ali than all these guys but he fought in the 20s. So, you know what I'm saying? He couldn't Ali would kill him if they got in a time machine and fought. But when you
Mm-hmm.
look at what he did during his time,
Mm-hmm.
and not everybody looks at that for their all-time greats. You know, I look at that because I don't match them literally against each other because then you just have to go with the more current people.
Right. So you don't think Joe Frazier can basically knock out most heavyweights today?
Yes, I do. I do. Remember I said 70s and on, and Joe Frazier, he was that left hook, man, vicious. Yeah,
Ridiculous.
yeah. No, Joe Frazier catches anybody. Shit, same thing with David Tua. They both have that left hook. They catch
Yeah.
anybody. It's night night.
Yeah. David too was like super big though.
He was a big. I mean, he was short. He was for a heavyweight, 5'10", but he was
Yeah.
like yeah.
Joe Frazier was just like compact, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
Pacquiao with big legs and everything was just moment.
Absolutely.
He had Muhammad Ali number.
Yeah, he did.
He had his
So
number.
well, let me ask you before I gotta get out of here in a second, but let me ask you first, who you got with Tank versus Frank?
I got Tank, man.
Me too. But a lot of people are saying that Frank might beat him. I don't see it.
What? How you gonna be? How?
Counterpunch? I don't know.
Counterpunch Tank?
I guess. I don't. I mean, Frank has very fast combinations. I think Frank. Excuse me, they rhyme. Frank is a better faster combination puncher than Tank. But that's the only
In
advantage
his
I think I give him.
highlight reels, yeah. But man, I mess with Frank. I mess with Frank heavy, man. But I think that they moving him a little bit too fast.
That's what Tank said. You saw that in
Yeah.
the on
Oh,
what
he
was it
did
on?
say that.
It
He
was
did
on
say that.
Yeah, they went on Gilly, I think Gilly and Wallow,
Oh,
and he's
they both was on there, right?
yes
Okay,
together,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then Tank starts going, "Yo, they're moving you too fast, man. They should have waited." And then one guy was like, "Yo, stop! You're giving it away." He's like, "You're right, my bad. I'm giving too much away. Nah, come fight me." It's funny.
Yeah, that's a big jump up in competition for Frank, and it's a lot. He's up against a lot. He's gonna be up under all of those lights, a whole bunch of stuff that he's not used to. That Tank is just kind of like at home in that environment, and Tank has underrated ability, bro. Underrated ability. I don't know what it is about us, man, but we can't walk and chew gum at the same time. When guys can punch, we just assume that they just punchers. They just punchers. They can't. Yo, man, he got a high level of ability, man. A
You
lot
know
of that.
boxing. You know what you're
Uh,
talking about. You're right.
yeah.
People think he just walks around closing his eyes and landing lucky one punches, but that's not the
No.
way it works.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Everything is calculated.
Mm-hmm.
He walked Ryan into all of those shots.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. He walked
Mm-hmm.
Rolly into that hook. You know what I'm saying? It's like he set these traps and he real patient. He real patient. And then he got this thing that that uppercut that he hit
Santa
was it
Cruz.
Santa Cruz?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, I guess since he's so short, it's like and so low to the ground that it's like where somebody normally would like dip down to throw a body shot, but he
Uh-huh.
he comes all the way up
Uh-huh.
through your guard and land the uppercut instead of the body shot. Really, the only person who I've seen do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a counter.
yeah.
It's like a counter hook. Tank is cold,
That
man.
was one of the nastiest knockouts I've seen in a very long time.
He cold, man. He cold. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. He got bombs in both hands. Nobody gonna beat Tank. Not at 30. Where they fighting at? They fighting at 35?
Yeah.
Nah. Nope.
I picked Tank over anybody, but I do think Tiafimo has a great shot. And I think that'd be such an exciting fight to watch.
But that'll be a 140, right?
Yeah. And from what I'm hearing, I talk to Tank's coaches sometimes. I don't From what they tell me that Tank doesn't really want to go past 35. So I don't know.
I feel him. I feel him. I don't think Devin should he should go back down from 140.
He can't do that. He's too big, man. He can't.
So what is he
You're,
gonna do?
he's gonna try and I don't know, man. Maybe it was a fluke. Maybe the dude was on steroids and he doesn't hit that hard. I don't know. If
Who,
if it's
Ryan don't hit
not,
that hard?
maybe I don't know. You never know. Because I feel remiss not to bring that up because look, he did get caught popping PEDs, so we don't know. It probably
Okay,
didn't
but
do much. Let's be honest, but it could have been the difference in the fight.
I don't think Ryan landing that check hook was the most problematic part of what I'm talking about. The most problematic part was the fact that Devin don't have no power at 40. He's not gonna be able to hurt nobody.
He just dropped Regis. That didn't look too bad. It was more of
He
a
looked good. He
snappy.
looked good in that fight.
That's what I'm
He
saying.
looked good in that fight.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to tell. I mean, Dev, he can't go back down. Like he's he's about he's 5'9" ish, I would say 5'10", and he just and he's 20. He can't make that weight. He cannot go back down. So
Is he gonna keep going up? Is he gonna go up to 47?
that's what he was talking about. Now maybe things have been reassessed, but at the time, yeah, man,
Wow.
yeah.
Who the hell would he fight at 47?
I mean, I don't know, man. He's. I feel, I don't know. I'm cool with his pops, so I feel kind of bad, but you know, it's boxing. We'll see what happens. Look, he could come back now and look amazing. Like crazier things have happened. Nobody expected this to happen. Did you have Ryan winning? Because I
Nope.
didn't.
I was going with Devin.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
was going with Devin, but I feel like that fight exposed some things.
It might have. It might have.
And
Yeah.
I feel like Devin could potentially be different after that fight. Just like Spence could potentially be different after that fight.
Yeah. Just like Wilder.
Wilder is forever different.
We'll see. He's according to
All
him.
of all of the killer is gone.
According to him, it's back. We'll
All
see.
right, well, he's entertained me so much over the years that even if he crying wolf, I'm gonna show up to see.
Hell yeah.
I hope it is. I hope it is back because Deontay is one of the most exciting fighters I ever
Oh
seen in the history
my God.
of the
Yeah.
sport.
Absolutely. One of the hardest punchers. Not one of the. I got to put him as the hardest puncher in history.
I gotta agree with you because I don't understand where the power comes from.
It's not his legs.
It's not from technique.
It's not from his legs either.
I'm saying
So
he hammered Stavern with the side of his glove like this, hammered him.
I think it's mainly his shoulders because he punches down. When you punch downward, you generate more torque and you're able to dig your feet into the ground and generate more energy. Guys who like Klitschko for years, he punched down at everybody because he was so much taller and he just was knocking everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big part of it.
Okay.
So
Okay. I mean, I can roll with that. I can roll with that. I just feel like it was a point in his career where no matter what he threw, like
yeah,
he just got creative with it. He threw shots that wasn't even really like real punches. Just like threw whatever he was feeling, and it was like everything. Anytime his glove touched a guy, like
there
they
were
just go
yeah,
unconscious.
like
It's
his
just
name, he threw wild.
crazy,
He threw very
crazy,
wild. Yeah,
crazy.
we'll see
I,
though. Thank God for Turkey El Sheikh and Saudi Arabia. Now we're gonna get some. So you were out there. You said that's dope.
I went out there and met that guy, man. I
He's
went out there
cool.
and met that guy. He's super cool,
Mm,
super cool. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that he being taken
mm,
serious by
mm-hmm.
just the boxing community. I'm glad that the boxing community, for the most part, from what I could see, seems like general consensus they mess with him. You know what I
Oh
mean? So
yeah, how can you not? He's making fights happen that like
yeah,
a lot of there's been a lot of diva-ish behavior where dudes don't want to fight unless they're getting a lot of money, and he's now he's taking care of that problem for us.
he don't mind spending it.
No, no, and the problem is once he stops, because I can't see him, he might just get disinterested and stop, and then what? Now this precedent is set, and everybody is expecting to get X amount. Now nobody's gonna
That
fight.
would be a disaster. But
It,
I don't think he's gonna do that. He just seemed like one of them passionate, like there's a bigger play here for him. I don't know what it is, but
yeah.
how dialed in they seem to be, it seemed like it's a bigger play here. So whatever this is right now is kind of like preliminary, leading up to whatever the big kaboom is that the turkey is gonna do. But be
Yeah.
fair, no expenses, bro.
Well, hey man, look, I appreciate you talking to me. Let's chop it up after the Usyk fight. We'll go over that.
Definitely, man. It's an honor. It's an honor. We'll chop it up after Usyk beat Tyson Fury. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a
We'll
possibility. You know what I
see.
mean?
We'll see.
We definitely gonna talk after Tank and Frank.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tank gonna stop Frank.
I think so too. I agree with that.
All right,
Um,
my brother.
all right, my
Love
man.
and
It's good
respect to
talking
you,
to you.
man. It's an honor.
All
Yep.
right.
Peace.
Appreciate you. Peace.